Welcome to UW-Stout Outdoors, Day 2.
Day 2 of the Mad Engine Scramble. And over here we got the crank all seated in the block. And right now we're assembling the pistons. We're just getting the little snap rings that hold in the wrist pins, and
They're interesting.
they're kind of a bugger.
So we're using this little vice grips to get them in. They're really a bugger. You got to make sure when you're putting these together that the gap there faces away from the gap on here. That's important to know. But they are, you got to kind of press them in. This side's always way easier than the other side because you push the push pin farther down so you got more room to work with. And then once you get it in there, you kind of just release this and then press it all the way down in there with either pliers or a screwdriver. Until it clicks. There, like that. And now what I'm going to do, that one's actually stuck in it. There we go. Click them. Oh, this one wants to come back out. Get back down in there. Alright, right like that. That side. This ain't easy. There's supposed to be a special tool, but that I just clicked that side in, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get the other side in. And that I need help with. You need two people when you do that if you don't have the special tool.
So after we're done assembling all these pistons, then we're going to assemble all the needle bearings that go right here. Then we'll put the whole other bottom end on top of this. Then we can actually put the power head back on the motor, right?
Yep, well we got to put the studs on the engine.
Oh yeah, that too. But then, after you put it on the motor, then it should go together.
Pretty quick.
Hopefully. So, here's a quick little tech tip. You don't need one of those fancy little piston ring compressors. You can just use a hose clamp. Seems to be working all right for us.
And we're going to use the butt end of a hammer to pound the piston in the cylinder. So you got to be really careful that you don't break the rings when you do this, because you got to make sure that this isn't cranked down super tight, because
Otherwise, it doesn't work. Huh.
Otherwise you don't get anywhere with it. So obviously right now I'm just going to give it a little taps here. She'll go right into the cylinder. And now the hose clamp. Now you go out the back end here. Make sure the rod's lined up. You can push it up a little bit.
Yep.
You're going to have to
adjust the crank just a little bit to get it to go.
Now actually we're going to flip the block down. We'll pull the block. Oh, she's a lot heavier now than she used to be. Okay, so now when you take a look here, what we're going to show you is how you assemble on an outboard like mine, needle bearings. It's a little bit different than your average Joe. Okay.
Now Jake's going to show you the process of assembling some needle bearings.
So we've got here your special specific needle bearing grease, right? It's very important you use that. It's like caramel, very sticky.
It tastes really good too.
No, it doesn't. Real caramel tastes good. So what you do is you take your goop on the grease. You take one of these cribs. It's to hold all the needle bearings. Just makes life easier. Slap the crib on, and what I like to do, just to make sure there's plenty of lubrication, is take this needle bearing grease again, go over the top of it, and make sure you got plenty in there.
Stuff is really sticky. You put those needle bearings in there, and they don't go anywhere.
Now you just start sticking the needle bearings in the slots. You do that.
And then once you're finished with the bearing cap, you do the same thing to the bottom of the connecting rod.
So you goob it on again, put the crib on, and put your needle bearings on that, just the same way you did with the
bearing cap, yeah. So now we have the cap on the connecting rod around the crankshaft.
And what you got to do with the bolts is you got to put some Loctite on there.
And then torque it to 30 foot-pounds.
Yep, that's exactly what we need to do. So yeah, just torquing them till they click, 30 foot-pounds. There's a click. There we go. You just double check them all the time and make sure they're correct. Alright.
After a couple more hours of working on it, we got all the little front intake all put back together, and we've put the power head back on the actual motor.
Yeah, we're getting closer, man. We just got get the heads torqued on now, and then put the reed block on, the exhaust ports, and the spark plugs and the coils.
We put a pretty good sized dent in our little parts right here.
In our mad race to finish.
I don't know if you can tell, but Jake's about to giggle like a little schoolgirl.
It's gonna happen.
As you can see, we're backing in the boat. That's right. We're gonna go give her a test run. See if she runs. Get her done. Woo! Well, we're in the truck again. That didn't go so smoothly.
Yeah, it didn't start right away. But we brought it back to the old farm, hooked her up, we got her running. So we're on round number 2. Get her done.
We'll see how this goes.
Alright.
Well, it's running. We gotta make some minor adjustments, but other than that, got the whole entire block together. She's a little bit smoky because we're mixing her real rich to break her in, but she shifts really nice. I just got the throttles too sticky, so I gotta loosen the bolt on it, but so far so good. We're gonna have to take her out and drive her around for like 5 hours. Well, we're on the lake patrolling for, you know, a good solid hour and a half. The engine is still running, except we have one issue. We forgot to bring fishing rods so we can troll.
We're sitting here, we have to do this for like 4 hours, and we could have been fishing the entire time.
Hey, I am really happy my engine runs. So that's all I gotta say.
He hasn't stopped giggling since.
Giggling like a little schoolgirl.